Hello everyone. So in this chapter we're gonna study sets, relations, and functions. So this chapter is mostly about it's more theoretical than um numbers, I can say. So let's just go through the theory part, and nobody explains the theory part better than our very own NCERT. Woohoo. And we'll keep making notes right here, and we'll also make notes right here. So let us begin. Just like lettuce, khane wala lettuce that they put in burgers and everything. Bad joke, very bad joke. Yeah. Study. Don't mind the background sound, okay? That's like my neighbors are having a party. Ayo, what's going on?
Is about finding a pattern, a recognizable link between quantities that change. In our daily life, we come across many terms such as brother and sister.
So what is mathematics? Mathematics is about, what is science fully? So science is mostly about patterns, right? What happens, it does not. So we, with what happens, we try to predict what will happen, because most of the times our futures are dependent on our past, right? um let's say, you know let's say milk, you have burnt milk. So how do you explain the burnt milk? Let's say you were preparing some milk, some kheer. Let's say you're making some kheer, right? And then you have burnt milk, really bad milk. So how will you explain that? How did that happen? The milk was on the stove, right, for a really long time, right? That is how you explain it. So yes, when we can predict the future by analyzing our past. So that is the concept behind science and math. So we look for patterns, we look for things that are happening, and we try to predict what will happen through that. Yes.
Sister, father and son, teacher and student.
So there are a lot of relationships. So relationships are kind of a pattern, right? When you have a pattern with your sister, I have my sister in front of me, so I'm talking about my sister. So yes, when you talk about your sister, um, yes, you they have a pattern of being sisters, right? We act like sisters. We don't act like, let's say, mother and daughter, right? Uh, I'm not her daughter. She's not my daughter. So we don't act like mother and daughter. But with my mother, I act like mothers and daughters, right? So that is a pattern.
Student. In mathematics also, we come across many relations such as number m is less than number n, line L is parallel to line m.
So what is a relation where two parties, find meaning with each other? Let's say you and your mother. How did your mother become a mother? By giving birth to you. How did you become a daughter or a son? By your mother, because your mother gave birth to you. Or so that is basically, what they're trying to say with, something is related to this. How is it related? There is a common point which gives meaning to both, right? So your mother could be an accountant and housewife, anything. She could be like a doctor, she could be a nurse, she could be a pilot, and you could be a student. You could do a job, you could do a business, you could, be a painter, musician, artist, dancer, model, or you could be really good at studies. But you have so many of these things, but you will be a daughter because of your mother, and your mother will be a mother because of you, right? So that's the logic. So some kind of meaning. So m is a number, m is a separate number which has its own meaning, and n is a separate number which has its own meaning. But then when they are related to each other, they find a different meaning, a related meaning, a meaning which they they could have, like, right. Just take the example of mother and daughter, for example. So basically it's like that only. So if m is smaller than n, if m is a lesser number than n, it gives meaning to m. We understand that m is smaller and n is bigger. So we understand both about m and n, right? Let's take O for example. So if you take m is smaller than n, sorry, if you take m is smaller than O. So we understand about m being a smaller number and O being a bigger number. So we understand about both parties. So relationship is where we understand about both parties with one relation, right?
M. Set A is a subset of set B.
Line L is parallel to line M. Yeah, basically these are relationships between things.
B in all these.
So relations is basically a relationship between two things, right? Don't get on to the definition. Ki, what is this meaning? She's saying I'm not able to understand. Shut up. No, you don't have to understand all of those definitions. Just understand that a relation is just a relation. It's a relationship like friendship, like um, mother daughter, mother son, father daughter, father son, sisters, brothers, what relationship they have. It's basically that.
These. We notice that a relation involves pairs of objects in.
So in maths, in the language of maths, we can say about two things in one line, right? Basically like that. So set A is a subset of set B. That is a relationship. And line L is parallel to line M. That is a relationship between line L and line M. And one second. So line L is parallel to line M. So that is a relationship, right? Set A is a subset of set B. That is a relationship again. And number M is less than number N, which is a relationship again.
Certain order. In this chapter, we will learn how to link pairs of objects from two sets and then introduce relations between the two objects in the pair.
So if you didn't understand that statement, it's completely fine. It's completely fine. We're going to learn it anyway. But then for those who want to understand, we'll go ahead. So we learn how to link pairs of objects. So how to link things, like what is the commonality between them. So we'll try to find the link between two things, and we'll learn to make pairs of them, and then introduce relations between two objects in the pair. So let's say you have an oil dabba and a colors ka dabba. How will you establish a relationship between them? The relationship is that they are both in dabbas, they are both in boxes, right? So basically that's the logic. You try to introduce uh you know um a relationship between them.
Pair. Finally, we will learn about special relations which will qualify to be functions.
So we'll also learn about relationships which are functions. We don't know what is a function yet. Let's learn it.
Functions. The concept of function is very important in mathematics since it captures the idea of a mathematically precise correspondence between one quantity with the other.
So function, talks about how one quantity is related with the other. So we learn about it. Don't worry. So basically establishing the same thing, establishing the same idea of what is the relationship between oil ka dabba and colors ka dabba?
Other. 2.2 Cartesian products of sets. Suppose A is a set of two colors and B is a set of three objects, i.e., A is equal to red, blue, and B is equal to B, C, S, where B, C, and S represent a particular bag, coat, and shirt.
So BCS is bag, coat, shirt, and red, blue are colors. So what combinations can we have? We can have a red colored bag, right? So we can have a red bag which would look like this, right?